Hi, it's V with Crafting Daily Dose, and today I have another alternative for the September 2023 Paper Pumpkin Kit called With Love and Gratitude. Now this is a fun fold card, and it's the perfect card to make when you can't quite decide between having a card in landscape orientation or portrait. When you open it up, it flips the other way, so now you don't have to choose. I learned this fun fold from my friend Janet Casey, and I'm excited to share it with you. Here are the pieces for the card. The card base is crumb cake cardstock, and it is 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, scored down the middle at 5 1/2 inches. And then there is one additional score line that we'll do together that runs from this corner here down to the 4 1/4 inch mark along the bottom. And then this piece of crumb cake cardstock is 4 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. For my message panel, I'm using very vanilla cardstock this time, but you can also use basic white. This is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. These next three pieces come from the treat bag, and I'll show you in a little bit how I cut them. This one is 4 inches by 4 inches, and then the two little ones are 1 inch by 4 inches. I'm using these two pumpkin die cuts, as well as this cluster of leaves and the large gold foil leaves. For my sentiment, I'm actually going to use one of the stickers that came with the Thoughts of Thanks journal. I'm using this grateful one right here, but you can see that any of these really could work well. And of course, if you don't have that, you can always use the label from the kit and stamp the sentiment of your choice. Speaking of that, I'll be using the Lost Lagoon color for my ink. And then one last optional extra. This is some anti-static powder that I'm going to use with the sticker. And now we're ready to get started. Let me show you how I cut those pieces from the treat bag. So here is the panel that has the flap on it. And right next to it is this section here. That's where the seam is. So if you look underneath, you can see that that's where it's been glued. I'm not planning to save this particular piece with the seam underneath, so I'm just going to cut it open with my snips, and I don't have to worry too much about being really neat here. If I later wanted to use this panel, then I can neaten this up underneath my trimmer, but really I just wanted to get everything open. And now that it is, I'm going to cut along this score line here. So let me just show you, here's where the flap is, and we're cutting right here. So I'm going to put this along the track of my trimmer, lining up the ends here. I'm pushing my scoring blade out of the way, and I'll go ahead and cut. This I can save for something else. Now I'm going to take my piece, and I want to get a 4-inch height here. I want to rotate this so that one of the short sides is along the top. But I want to use this one because this is my cleanest cut. Remember, this is the one that I just kind of winged with my snips. So in order to get this up here, I'm going to rotate it. I rotate it clockwise, and I'm also going to flip it over so that I can have this nice straight edge up against the top there. And I'm going to place this at 4 inches and cut. All of those little scraps can be saved for something else too. Now here's my piece. If you look carefully, you will notice that there are two score lines right here, one at 1 inch and one at 2 inches, and that's really convenient because that's right where we want to cut. So at 1 inch, once we've taken that piece off, then we're going to come in 1 more inch from that. So we've got 2 of our pieces. And then from the remaining piece, I want to cut at 4 inches. And you might notice that that is going to be a little bit past this score line. So we do have this score line on our piece, but that's going to get covered up. While the trimmer is out, I'm going to work on my card base too. As a reminder, this is 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and I'm going to score it at 5 1/2 inches. So here's 5 1/2 inches. Moving that cutting blade safely out of the way, and I'm going to use that lighter blade to score. So far this is looking very much like a regular card base. Here is the one little modification that we have to make. I'm going to make a mark at 4 1/4 inches along the bottom of the card. So here I'm using my measurement right here, that's 4 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to make a little mark there. And now what I need to do is to make a score line from that mark to this top right corner. So I'm putting this again along the track on my trimmer, double checking that I'm using the scoring blade, and I'll go ahead and score. And then this is going to get folded back as a valley fold. Just like that. I've got my silicone craft sheet on my desk for a little extra cushion as I stamp. I'll start with this piece that had been cut out from the treat bag, and notice that I have that score line over here on the left. I'm going to reverse that fold here really quickly just so that my piece can lie down flat. I'm using Lost Lagoon ink to stamp some of the leaves, and it's perfectly fine for the images to overlap. And I'll stamp the leaves on the inside message panel as well. But remember, when the card is opened, this is actually going to pivot to be in the portrait orientation. So I want to make sure that I'm stamping it in this direction. That was pretty quick, right? We're already set to put everything together. And now for the card base. I want to make sure that I have worked this fold really well. So even though it ends up like this, I've also reversed it and reinforced that as well. That's going to help make sure that the fold is nice and flexible. Now my triangle is bent back and I want to put adhesive all along here. I'm using glue for this, but you can also use your Stampin' Seal or the double-sided tear and tape that came with the kit. You're going to line up this corner with that one here. And then make those edges flush. I'm closing the card just to make sure that it also lines up with the back, making sure that this bottom part is straight, and that's looking really good. Next, this little strip is going to decorate the panel over here. I'm centering this piece over the blank area. And now I can start to arrange my die cuts. The gold one hides the score line on this panel. Now I'm planning to use this sticker, and it is of course a sticker, so I could place it directly onto the card after I've put down the other die cuts, but I would really like to be able to put this on top of some dimensional foam stickers and give it lift. But if I were to do that, it would eventually get squashed down and stick to the card, and it wouldn't have that dimension anymore. And so I'm going to unstick the sticker by dusting it with anti-static powder. I'm just dusting it on until it doesn't feel sticky anymore. And then I'll add some dimensionals. Now the ones that came with the kit are the mini size, and I'll use some regular ones in combination with those. And now you can treat this like any other die cut. I'll start adhering these pieces down. I'm curling the edges of the leaves up with my fingers for some dimension. And now I'm going to curl the pumpkin as well. I'll put a couple of dimensionals underneath the center part to help keep its rounded shape. And now our front is done. Let's go ahead and open it up, and we'll work on decorating the inside, starting with the panel that goes right here. Just like before, I'm centering this panel on the blank space. Now for the message panel. And then that last pumpkin die cut is going to go on here. There's our finished project. We have a landscape card that opens up to portrait orientation. We still get to enjoy that beautifully decorated front panel, which just goes to show that sometimes you really can have it both ways. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this dose of creativity. If you get a chance to try this project, I would love to see it, so share it in my Facebook group or tag me if you're sharing elsewhere. If you're interested in Paper Pumpkin but don't yet have a demonstrator, you can find my subscription link as well as all of my other links in the description box below. I hope to craft with you again next time, and until then, have a great day.